Hey, everybody, welcome back. It is Let's Talk Phys Ed, milestone episode 50. Tanner, did you ever think we would get to episode 50 when we started this show?
No, I was thinking, we might get episode 10 and then we get bored or, people wouldn't be interested. And I don't know if either are happening, but we got to 50. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, when we started this, I honestly didn't think we would get to like three because we were, not very good at this. This is not our thing. We're not, communications majors, but people enjoyed it. People are watching it, and we're enjoying talking with everybody that we have on. So we made it, episode 50. So it's actually season 3, episode 12, 50th episode total. And kind of the way our careers have gone, we started out, just meeting, and then we start this show, and then all of a sudden, boom, Twitter blows up. We get invited to join the Open National Training Team, which is kind of fitting then that we have these two gentlemen here, Hart and Brian Devore, joining us for our 50th episode. Brian, how are you today?
Doing well, my friend. How are things up there in the bitter cold north?
It's not that bitter cold. It was 70 degrees today, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah. So just about 5 degrees warmer than when you were here last, sitting in front of a fireplace with a coat on.
Exactly. I would only need a light jacket today.
Just a light jacket. Yeah. How about you, Aaron? How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, just sheltering in place, trying to find good Wi-Fi and making it happen.
Yeah, it's kind of unprecedented what's going on right now. And this, with the Zoom meetings, this is kind of like the new norm. Like everybody's used to this now. It was kind of funny when people started using Zoom and Google Meet and all that. Everybody's like, how do you use this? This is so confusing. And Tanner and I are like, easy. We've been doing this for
pioneers.
9 episodes, right?
And believe it or not, Jason and I, this is the first time we've seen each other on Zoom since we've been out of school. So it's been
oh wow, okay,
a month and a half. So
we thought going into the whole quarantine thing that we were just going to be pumping out episodes, right? It was going to be simple. Everybody was going to be home anyways. We're like, we'll just film a bunch of episodes. A month and a half later, you're our first one during quarantine. So.
I think teachers have their hands full right now.
They do, absolutely. But, I didn't mention before, but again, I'm your host, Jason Steele. With me as always, Tanner Rose. And you've met our guests, Brian Devore and Aaron Hart, and we're going to take them through some questions and see what they have to say for tonight. You guys ready?
Ready to go.
All right, fantastic. So this Monday is the beginning of this month's Twitter chat for Open All Week. Can either of you give us a sneak peek of what that may entail this week?
Sure. So Open All Week, for those who don't know, is basically our slow Twitter chat. So we pick a topic each month, we do it the last week of every month. And each day of the week, Monday through Friday, we have one question that's posted in the morning. And people respond throughout the day with the hashtag Open All Week in their answer. And if you answer the question early in the day and you want to go back later on and see what other people have replied to get new ideas, you just search that hashtag as you go through. So this week's topic is going to be related to social and emotional learning and hashtag HPE at home, as we've come to know it now, health and physical education at home. So, and there's going to be some questions in there that not only talk about, okay, what are you doing in the classroom, but some of it also is, hey, what are you doing for yourselves as teachers? Because teachers have been thrust into kind of a whole new world of, like you mentioned, living on Zoom meetings and, trying to connect with students, trying to connect with parents, trying to connect with other teachers through different platforms, trying to communicate their lessons in different ways and make them so they're meaningful and still standards related. But also, they have to understand that there's a different way to take care of yourself now. If you're staring at a computer screen for 10 straight hours, that's not the best thing for you, for your eyes, for your health, any of those things. So, and how are you taking care of yourselves? And also, we were talking before we came on, talking about the shelter in place. I mean, you kind of got to excuse yourself maybe from the house every once in a while to go out for a short walk or a bike ride or do something to not only get a little bit of exercise, but also just kind of clear your head a little bit. So we'll talk about it from the teacher standpoint, also how schools are engaging families in this, because it's a whole different ballgame when you can't all of a sudden see people face to face at a PTA meeting, or see people at the spring fling that this school always runs. So what are some different ideas that, whether it's the physical educator, or whether it's the school or the school district, what are they doing to engage the families, but also adhere some to their social and emotional needs that they may have. Some people may have gotten laid off or lost their jobs. Kids don't understand what's going on. They miss their teachers. They miss their friends. What are they going to do to help their students address that? So a lot of different aspects with social and emotional learning, but also, and one question I'm excited about is towards the end of the week, deals with, okay, what are you going to do moving forward if we go back to school in August, September, and everything is somewhat back to normal, or what we knew it to be like before? What kind of lessons are you going to take away from this? Are you going to start to implement more technology in your classrooms? Are you less afraid to implement some things that maybe before you didn't have the time to investigate, and this made you investigate them, or maybe you got the opportunity to use them for the first time and found them to be valuable to your students and to teaching health or physical education?
Right.
And that response you gave right there is why Open All Week works, because you couldn't do that in a 1-hour Twitter chat. So the
Right.
fact that everything you just said there, and I'm thinking about all the people who participate and everything that they have to share. This is going to take a long time to hash out and to figure out, what is everybody else doing? What can I take from it? So.
Well, I have to give a big shout out to Lynn Heffley, one of our Open National trainers, because Lynn, she's kind of spearheaded this whole effort. And really, it was her idea originally to try this concept. And it's really taken off over the last year. So, big shout out to her, and others have helped contribute. Margaret Robley, John Jones, Mike Morris. All of them have had a hand in trying to work, with Lynn and trying to get this off the ground. And it's really taken off the last week of the month. So hopefully this will be another good episode of Open All Week, and it'll help teachers out nationwide.
I'm positive it will be.
And I like how you mentioned, Tanner, that the format, how it goes for a week, right? Where you have time to answer the questions, you have time to think about it. I recently just did an ESPE chat, and it was based off of what you're doing at home, and kind of not so much the SEL, but what you're doing at home. And like you said, you can't do it in an hour. I don't think I've ever had so many notifications on my account, and my phone went from 60% down to 2%, and I was so nervous that my phone was going to die in the middle of this whole thing. But yeah, you're right, you cannot do it. So it's amazing format that's set up for it.
Yeah. Well, you talked about HPE at home, and that's been the most important hashtag in the phys ed world lately. And I'm not going to lie, the first time I saw it, I thought it said HP eat home. And
I did too.
That's the stupidest hashtag ever. We could have posted that. And then, I don't know, the next day I saw it again. I'm like, people are really using it. And I don't know, it might have been the third day before it clicked that HPE isn't HP eat. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good hashtag. Anyway.
Find the punctuation in the capital letters, right? He wasn't paying attention to that, apparently.
Well, the E is capital. I don't know. And I was thinking Harry Potter, who knows? So can you take us behind the scenes of the process of how Open's active home resources were created and distributed so quickly at this time? We had this immediate and totally unexpected need for these resources, and it seemed almost magically it was there. Can you take us through the process of when you realized something needed to be done and the time that it was produced?
Yeah, well, really, again, a couple of shout outs to some Open National trainers. Lori Dunn, who's right in the thick of things, and was really, her district in Seattle was one of the first, that region was the first impacted. And then Rich Wiles was keeping his ear to the streets like he always does. And both of those were sending me messages saying, hey, we got to ramp up for this. We got to get going for it. And, we saw there was going to be a huge need. And it took us 3 or 4 days to get the formatting right of kind of how we wanted to do it. And actually we evolved even after the first week. But the reality was teachers were in a panic. I mean, everybody was in a panic. What are we going to do when our kids are at home all day and we're trying to teach PE over a computer or whatever? What are we supposed to focus on? Are we supposed to focus on physical activity or the standards or skills based or fitness based? And there's all these questions. And, I think probably the biggest thing we did in the first week was just set kind of a baseline of content that was standards based and allowed teachers to catch their breath a little bit. Right. So they knew they had something that they could at least submit to their principal that was credible, standards based, and somewhat complete for that first week. And whether they wanted to evolve after that or not, which everyone did, right? No one is doing, in week 7 what they did in week 1. Everyone evolved. And so it really just allowed teachers to kind of, get their head together and make sure that in that first week, they were doing everything that their administrators needed them to do, as well as getting their kids content that was meaningful. So, and then after that, it was just, it's like living in a hurricane, right, Brian? I mean, it's,
it's been an interesting experience. And as Aaron mentioned, all the different trainers who have chipped in with different ideas and different concepts, and Rich and Brandon Herwick did some work on that as well. And just, I'll leave Nick Klein. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Nick Klein was
first couple of weeks, he was a monster. Yeah. And he's still contributing. So it's fantastic.
But it's just been one of those things where, especially till, like Aaron said, until we got kind of a routine down and got the content down and the format and all, it was, every day was, 12 to 15 hour days trying to figure out, okay, how do we do this? How do we make this work? Okay, let's find what we can do to give teachers and students a good physical education experience, given the cards that we've been dealt. So I can't be any more proud of how we were able to respond to the needs of teachers in this particular situation, and continued to. It's one thing to do it for 1 or 2 weeks, and then, okay, you guys are kind of on your own. Today Aaron posted week 7. So
crazy. Week 7.
We're on week 7 of HPE at home.
Almost a full marking period.
Right. So, to be able to keep that going, and also be able to utilize the open content, take it, tweak it, make it so that it's something students can do within the safety of their own home or within their yard if they have beautiful weather like you did today in North Dakota, but also with equipment or things that they happen to have at home. Because it's not like they can go to the equipment room and all of a sudden check out all this great equipment that they can do all these wonderful lessons with. So that was another thing that we really tried to focus on, was making sure that all students everywhere, no matter where they came from, would be able to do the different lessons that we created.
Yeah. And honestly, what I can say is just noticing how other teachers have benefited from it. I mean, it's like just exploded on Twitter. You can't go on Twitter right now without seeing something that someone's making a comment about, or thanking Open, or thanking somebody who contributed. It's been unbelievable, and 2 thumbs up to everybody for putting their time in and doing all that. You guys kind of touched on it, and we've talked about it a couple times now with this COVID-19, this coronavirus thing. Like, you can't go anywhere right now without talking about it with somebody. You can't turn on the TV without seeing something about it. I mean, it's exploded. But it feels like it's just like a storyline for a movie, right? Like, this is like an awful horror movie that we're all living in. And with that said, what we're kind of wondering is who do each of you think the TV or movie character would be to be the hero in this whole thing? Like, what actor, what TV character comes out and just solves all the world's problems and fixes this whole thing?
I'm a big superhero guy. My son is middle school. I'm gonna go on a limb here. I'm gonna say Shazam.
Okay. Shazam, like
Yeah.
Shazam, or like Shaquille O'Neal Shazam?
Oh no, Shazam, the newest Shazam movie. Have
Okay.
you seen it?
All right.
No,
No,
I was thinking Shaquille.
Oh, you got it. You've got
I
to go see it.
immediately thought of Shaquille O'Neal like
No,
dunking
Shazam.
I'll check
you.
it out. I'll check.
All right.
Hey, who fixes everything with bubble gum and duct tape? MacGyver.
But true.
MacGyver can fix anything.
Yeah.
That guy can do anything, and he just takes whatever happens to be around. So, hey, whatever he's got laying around the house, he can fix this whole COVID-19 thing. Not a big deal.
I mean, somebody give him a call, right?
He'll create an immunization with what's in his pantry.
I wonder if he has Lysol.
he's got plenty of toilet paper.
Honestly, two directions I did not think you guys were gonna go.
If we had Shazam and MacGyver together.
Oh man, and maybe Shaquille O'Neal.
Yes.
Shaquille O'Neal, he's in every single commercial. I'm sure he could hook us up with some stuff.
He was even in Tiger King, you guys.
Was he?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I'm still
Instant
thinking of
credibility.
this Icy Hot commercial.
I see.
Maybe that's the ticket right there. Maybe that's the cure. Icy Hot.
Yeah, he played a big deal in my childhood. Shaq did.
Yeah.
Speaking of, as a child, I have very few specific memories of school, but I do remember field day, like it was, 2 days ago. We called it the dog patch relays, which was really weird because we were the Monarchs, which is like a lion pride. So I don't know why we called it that. But, I remember the smiles. I remember the games. I remember all the kids running and having fun. And I remember sitting and watching all the other kids do their events and all those awesome things we did. And, I couldn't imagine elementary school without it. So I'm thinking about my own son right now. I've got a fourth grader. It's his last year in my elementary school, and he's going to miss out on that stuff, the in-person field day. So when I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking about how important what Open's doing with our Open National Field Day presented by the Open National Trainers. Can you tell us like how this is going to look and the reaction you have received from the physical educators around the country, and maybe what you anticipate?
Well, as far as how it's going to work, it's almost like taking an open module and allowing teachers to kind of take it and tweak it and make it their own, just like we do everything else. We kind of lay out a format for teachers, and then we still allow them to vary some from it. So we originally thought we'd get about 12 to 15 activities for students to complete on the National Field Day on May 8th. And we threw it out to our Open National Trainers to contribute their greatest and best field day activities, and we couldn't narrow it down to just 12 or 15. We ended up expanding it to 20. So as of last Friday, all 20 of the activities are released on the National Field Day website.
And it's 22 now, Brian, because I left 2 out that we already had videos for.
There we go, up to 22.
22.
So now we're up to 22 activities. But all those are posted on the website. And then we also have videos that go along with them. So there's event cards that teachers can take and place in their Google Classroom or whatever platform that they happen to use. Or if they have their own website, they can place them on the website, and parents or students can access them there. It's got a great little format because it's all on one card. It's a ready, set, go. So ready, what do you need in order to do this? Set, what's the setup? And then go, how do you actually do it? And then we also have from our trainers some short little videos. They're about 45 seconds to a minute long that supplement those cards. So in case somebody doesn't really understand how they're supposed to do the activity, they've got the video that goes along with it there. So we'd love for obviously for students to participate and for their families to participate with them. So, to kind of turn it into more of a family event if they can on that May the 8th, but students can participate on their own. There's a scorecard also that's on there so they can keep track of their score and submit it to their teacher as kind of proof that they did field day that day. But it's a lot of fun, and it was done. Obviously we all love to have field day outside, but some kids may not have that opportunity, being stuck at home. So we made sure that all the activities were designed so they could be done either inside or outside. And once again, just like we have been doing with our modules for the HPE at home, using materials that you have around the house. and giving alternatives. If you don't have this, try and substitute this. One of our national trainers, Jim DeLine, was doing one of the activities, filming a video, and it's, use a balloon or a ping pong ball, or you can take a Ziploc bag and fill it up with air and zip it up, and you can do the activity fan away with that also. And he used that in his example to show the students and families that you can use whatever you have around the house. So that's kind of the format for it. But once again, we left the event cards in Word format. So if teachers want to modify them, they can modify them. If they just want to pick and choose which ones they want to do, they can do that as well. So we tried to leave it as flexible as we possibly could for the teachers. There's been a lot of questions about the date because some people are having their field days later in the year, and their principal wants to maintain it, during that time. And the resources will be there until the end of August. So plenty of opportunity to do that.
Hey guys, speaking of Jim DeLine, I'm in a little hot water with Jim. He put a lot of work into the field day activities, and he's a real creative guy. And I got a kind of nasty email from him yesterday morning. He was looking through the scorecard, and he was pretty upset because he submitted an activity called underwear golf, and it didn't make the cut. And I mean, there was nothing inappropriate about it, except for the fact you had to collect underwear from your family and use it as sporting goods equipment, basically. So, I mean, what do you guys think? You guys think I made the right call? That might have been pushing the boundary.
It may have pushed the boundary a little bit, Aaron, but if it's coming from Jim, it's probably awesome.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
True. Yes.
And what is it that, kind of our mantra with Open, Aaron?
Teachers helping teachers.
And?
Wear clean underwear.
That's it. That's the one I was looking for. No, we kind of try to think outside the box. Right?
That's true. That's true. But not everybody knows Jim.
Well,
so like that's, if you know Jim, you know it's a great activity. But if you don't know him, you're like, what are these people out of their mind? Underwear golf?
I suppose it's no different though, really, than with Mike Morris when he does his stuff with poop and plungers. I mean, if my principal comes in and we're catching hunks of poop with plungers, she's gonna wonder what's going on. But
fair enough.
Hey, the kids are having a good time, and
they're building skills and they're building memories for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and they can probably do it at home.
Yeah. All right. So if people are watching this and they want to throw in underwear golf, they can write it in. It can be a write-in on the scorecard.
Yeah, right. I'll write in, right? So in staying with the National Field Day, can you tell us something about we have an Open National Field Day Challenge, correct? I believe there's
the teacher challenge.
The teacher challenge. Okay, can you touch on that a little bit for anybody who's wondering?
Right. So we've got starting tomorrow on Monday. It goes on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And it's just kind of a little social media challenge to get teachers out there to kind of make their own videos showing themselves doing some of the field day activities. So you just have to post yourself practicing one of the Open National Field Day activities, a short little video of it or a photo of it, and then you put in the hashtag NFD teacher for National Field Day teacher in there. And then our partners at US Games have offered to give away 4 $250 gift certificates to US Games for equipment. So basically just you post your video practicing one of the field day events, and you got a chance to win $250 gift card. Not a bad deal.
And I think your name gets put to the top of the list if you do If the Shoe Fits by Jason Steele.
If the Shoe Fits by Jason Steele, or if you do Look for the Good with Tanner Rose.
Oh, well,
soon to debut, a video soon to debut on the Open YouTube channel.
My kids are thrilled because they helped with the filming of that, and
I love the video.
Just over 700 views on YouTube, so they are jacked. And kind of a backstory with that, I only had to climb up on the ladder once to get a shoe off of the roof of my house.
That's not
0
bad.
points for that. I heard that description. 0
That's
points
right.
for that.
0 points. There's also, I forgot to mention in the video, if anybody's watching and they decide to do that one, it's also 0 points if you kick the shoe up and you hit yourself in the face. Also,
Very
Oh,
true.
the outtakes. The outtakes.
Yeah.
We needed more of those. And we should have done that ahead of time.
You know,
Was tell people
I know,
to collect
we
your
should have.
outtakes and make sure you send your outtakes. Dump them into a different file for the outtakes.
it would have been much longer than what is out there right now, I think. Yeah.
It would have been good footage for the opening ceremonies on May 7th.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun to watch.
That's right. Tell them a little bit more about the opening ceremonies, Aaron. I
Yeah.
left all that out
Well,
with the field day.
It's going to be fun. We're going to have a few surprise guests, and I'm not going to give away too many secrets, but the work that all the trainers went into it, the creative team back at BSN Sports has been helping me put together a nice little montage that'll hopefully do it justice and do all the work that the trainers put in. It'll kick it off and it'll get kids excited about participating. So at 7:30 Eastern time, we will go live. If you just go to openphysed.org/National Field Day, which is our main hub for that, there'll be a button, boom, right on the page. You can click on it and it'll take you into the opening ceremonies. Photobomb.
I'm excited about that, but I'm sorry I lost focus.
I know. It's all good. I
just showed up and photobombed the episode.
Well, and we got there'll be the end of the torch run.
Yep.
The lighting of the field day cauldron.
Yes.
And we just finished filming it today, actually. It's live, but we filmed it today. And again, Lynn Heffley on the green screen technology. It's going to be ridiculously entertaining.
Is it going to go through Atlanta, Georgia? I remember watching
it goes through all 50 states.
All 50 states.
And the District of Columbia.
That's awesome.
That'll be fun.
It's going to be good.
Hey, we keep name dropping open trainers. So I'm going to combine that with another question we previously had. Which open trainer reminds you of a TV or movie character and why?
Wow.
Anybody from TV or movie?
You didn't send us these questions ahead of time.
Yeah, right.
We want to make sure you didn't know everything we're talking about.
Nope.
Well, Brian Devore is an open national trainer, and we know that he's Mr. Douglas, keeping everybody in line.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All right.
Brian,
so that one's yours. All right. So mine is going to be Jim DeLine. Reminds me, I don't know the name of the character, but I have been forced to watch a lot of Major League Baseball channel network movies that they keep putting on there. But he reminds me of the character Clint Eastwood plays, the scout.
Yeah.
That Clint Eastwood plays, going to all the minor league games, and he's like, I
yeah.
don't need all that computer stuff. I don't need all that stuff. I just need to look at him and see what he does, and everything. I can tell you if he's going to be a good ball player or not just from that. I don't need all those measurements and everything.
Yeah. And he's blind
Absolutely.
too, right, in the movie, so he just kind of listens to the pitch, right?
Right? Yeah.
Justin Timberlake makes an appearance in a baseball movie there.
He does.
It's really good.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Actually, my wife and I watched that. And then about a year later, I saw it. I think it was on Netflix or something. I'm like, we should watch this. This looks awesome. And it was like an hour into the movie. And my wife said, haven't we seen this already? I'm like, no, I don't think so. And then she's like, yeah, at the end, they call the kid Peanut Boy, the kid that becomes, joins with the Braves. And she was right. We had seen it before.
Well, and I should have worn my Bull Durham, my Durham Bulls jersey for the appearance. We talked about that on social media. So I was right in my heyday during the filming of Bull Durham when I was working for the Durham Bulls when I was growing up through high school and college.
So awesome. I'm going to share one too, just because when Tanner wrote these questions, this immediately jumped in my head. But when we were in Dallas last year, Alex O'Brien is, without a doubt, 100%, he is Ace Ventura.
Yes.
He had the hair. He had like a Hawaiian shirt. I think he had the same kind of boots that he wears in Ace Ventura. And he's like, his hair, and he says funny things, and then he's chewing big red gum. Like, it was 100% Ace Ventura. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good
I think
one.
I even called him Ace. I'm like, hey, Ace. And
He was just like, whoa.
yeah, he did. Yeah. So we got another, just a quick funny one, real quick, just a quick fun one, not to do with PE or anything, but coolest animal that you could scale to the size of a horse. Our writers are really digging deep with this one, but if you could make any animal the size of a horse, what would it be?
Okay.
See, we stumped Aaron finally. You know, the last time he was on the show.
Yeah,
He aced all the questions.
I crushed it.
Pokemon question.
It's a good thing he had all those questions and not me, because I'd have gone over.
Yeah, 7 with Pokemon questions, but you ask him what animal that he wants to make the size of a horse, and he's like,
I haven't thought of that recently, because I can think of tons of animals that'd be terrifying the size of a horse.
Right, like a giant cockroach.
Yeah, a worm, an earthworm. Can you imagine an earthworm the size of a horse?
A Wolverine.
no.
Yeah, but
You're
one that I would actually like to make the size of a horse.
Yeah.
Oh man. Brian, what do you got?
So I'm going to go kind of opposite. I'm going to go the opposite direction.
Okay.
I'm going to go the opposite direction. I would like to see a humpback whale the size of a horse.
Okay.
Ooh,
It's actually called a baby humpback whale.
Exactly. Because then you could keep one, keep one in the lake, or keep one, build a saltwater pool and keep one in your pool with you.
That would be pretty cool.
There you go.
You wanted to.
That'd be
Yeah.
pretty big.
Yeah. I think,
All right.
I don't know where Tanner came up with this question, but maybe because as he was writing questions, he looked over and looked at his dog, who is the size of a horse. I don't know if you've seen the thing. Thing is giant. Tanner rides it to school.
We gave it a haircut because we couldn't bring it into the place we go. So we ended up buying a Clippers, and I got a 13-gallon bag of trash. It was completely empty. And by the time I filled up the hair, probably 2/3 full of hair.
Just from his head. You guys, have you not seen this thing? If he walked by right now, you wouldn't see the roast sign.
It would just be the dog.
It would just be the dog.
Yeah, it's a big dog.
Yeah, it's a big dog. Tanner, you got any more questions before we?
Let's see. Let's see. Anything we didn't ask? How about
The show is going so good, Tanner.
Number 50. Number 50, baby.
Well, you went out of order. All right, so I'm going to ask one of Jason's questions that he skipped. So one of the things that I want to talk about was the open power discounts that we're getting with U.S. Games. I kind of looked through there and was trying to figure out what I want to spend my money on. I've got a couple of days left before I've got to submit my final request for the year. So can you tell us a little bit about what that open power discount is all about?
So the open power discount has been in the works for 6 months or more. And we've been doing a lot of work basically to say, if we were to take everything that a teacher needs to implement open, and I mean everything, if we put it into a module, it's included in the open power catalog that we released. What would be the barrier really right now for teachers to purchase those things in support of open? Because all the work that we do is 100% funded by the equipment sales that go through US Games and BSN Sports. And so we did a little bit of a survey, and teachers said, well, the biggest barrier that we have is price. because now teachers can buy from discount outlets or websites that are significantly less expensive than most physical education suppliers. And so we said, all right, let's go back and negotiate this out and get everybody the best discount we can possibly get. And so we put together, there's 675 different items when you factor in all the different varieties of foam ball and everything else. And those 675 items are discounted as deep as 50%. Most of the items, over 50% of the items in there, are discounted 50%. And then there are a few things that we had to scale back. So there's some things that are 40% off, some things that are 30% off. And then there's items like Polar, for example. There's no way we could give a 50% discount on Polar heart rate monitors. So we just did the best that we could because we use those in the book. But if you go in on the website, you can go through a digital catalog. We're not going to ship any paper catalogs out to schools. Number one, teachers aren't in schools right now. But we've heard from a lot of the districts and receiving offices that they don't want a lot of mail. Oh, there's the dinosaur
There's the horse.
in Tanner's house. But yeah, so it's 100% digital. You can buy it online through the portal that we've created into the US Games website, and it automatically gives you the pricing. Or you can call one of our territory managers and talk to them, and they'll get you whatever you need to make sure that the purchasing person in your district gets it correct. But the idea was, how do we help teachers support us? And the best way we thought we could do that is give ridiculously big discounts.
Well, it's definitely appreciated. My budget is limited, and if I can get 2 or 3 more rackets or whatever I'm going to be buying, paddles, then I'm going to be able to serve 2 or 3 more students. So
yeah, that's great.
And it really brings equity. I mean, Open's all about equity of access to quality curriculum, and it really brings equity of access to equipment. There's some schools where I've taught in schools where my budget was how many box tops for education kids brought in. And then I've taught in other schools where I got X amount of dollars from the school, X amount of dollars from the PTA, and I could get more dollars from the school district. So it enables some of those schools that really struggle with funding. It gives them the opportunity to get the tools that they need to educate their students.
Awesome.
And the concept is, we just passed 100,000 open registered members. And that just blows my mind in and of itself. Since the whole coronavirus epidemic hit, we've had 1 million downloads from the site. 1 million, which totally blows my mind.
That's unreal.
Totally unreal.
That's huge.
And so, the idea is, and this is basically how we were able to negotiate down with the folks at BSN Sports is, those 100,000 people who are downloading millions of documents, they buy PE equipment from somewhere. Let's make it absolutely 100% slam dunk that they're going to buy it from us. And, that was the goal. That was the goal. And hopefully and the response actually already has been really, really good. A lot of people calling in saying, hey, can we buy on this pricing and then have it delivered later when our school opens back up? And, of course, all that stuff is possible through the US Games territory managers. But we're looking forward to being able to serve teachers in a bigger and better way in that capacity. So thank you for asking that question.
Super, super good deal. Deep breath, guys. We made it through episode 50. That's it. That was
amazing.
I loved it. I thought it was good. There was nobody else we wanted to interview for episode 50, but the 2 head honchos of Open, Hart and Brian Devore. Thank you 2 for joining us. And before we take off, a couple more little things. Obviously, we want to thank Judy Lobianco at HPE Solutions because she did sponsor us to have this paid version of Zoom, so we don't have to worry about time and everything. So thank you to her. Thank you to Tanner's kids for making an appearance on the show this evening. Yeah. I think that's the first time.
That's great.
Any of them ever made the show. And it was too good. We're not going to redo it. We're just going to roll with it. And that's what HPE at home is about right now with those things happening. And then one more thing before we take off, we want to give each of you an opportunity to explain to viewers how they can get a hold of you. So Brian, website or Twitter feed or whatever you want to use, how can people get a hold of you?
Sure. So they can get a hold of me on Twitter. I'm at bdevore7, Instagram Coach BD34, or I'm on Facebook, obviously with my own name. And then Open Phys Ed is basically Open Phys Ed wherever you look: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Also on YouTube. Search our YouTube channel as well. So, or you can shoot an email to me, bdevore@openphysed.org.
Perfect. Aaron.
On social channels, I am at NY Aaron Hart. And you can also email me at ahart@openphysed.org. And then reach out through all of the open channels as well. And either Brian or I will be there to say hey.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight. This will air tonight on
All right.
and YouTube. It will go out. So looking forward to that. And until next time, episode 51 coming up sometime.
Nice.
Sometime soon. We're actually going to record in 3 days.
We are. We're knocking a bunch of them out here. So episode 51 will come out here shortly. But thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Everybody for watching.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
See ya.
Thanks.